Hello and welcome to Deborah Hanson. Read with me. I'm Deborah Hanson, and today we're going to review chapter 10 and 11 from Chains by Laurie Halse Anderson. So today we're just going to look at, in a nutshell, basically what is happening in both of these chapters. If you want to listen to the chapters in full, I do have those on my channel, so you can listen to me read each chapter and do some commentaries as I read along. If you have any questions after this, please feel free to leave a comment, and I will always answer your questions. So let's start. I'm going to use the slides like I usually do, just in case you need the notes for your book report or for a book talk or anything like that. So let's start. Okay, so before Ruth and Isabel fall asleep, Isabel wants to know why Ruth was crying. Do you remember in the last chapter when she walked in to the lounge and she noticed that Ruth was crying, but of course she knew not to ask why in front of Madame Lockton, because that would not have gone well. She learns that Madame Lockton was angry with Ruth because she was fooling around. So that kind of makes Isabel mad because she's kind of worried about Miss Lockton because she's a bit unstable and she's worried that maybe she'll beat Ruth. And it's Isabel's job to protect her. She promised her mother that she would protect her. So you can see, again, there's lots of tension, lots of pressure on Isabel. Just before she falls asleep, Ruth is missing her special doll. If you remember in the first chapters, she had to leave it behind when Mr. Finch sold them. So she's kind of missing that doll, but Isabel promises her that she's going to make her a new one. So that's a little bit of foreshadowing for you. Isabel then waits about an hour before she decides to sneak out and then complete her mission. Remember when she was in the library, she decided at that point that she was going to help Curzon and that she was going to spy on the Locktons. So she removes her shoes and she quietly comes up the stairs. You know, she needs to leave the house very quietly because, of course, if she gets caught, she's in big trouble. So she does come up with an excuse, though, just in case she does run into Madame Lockton on her way up or in the house. She said she's going to go to the privy. And we know the privy is just another word for the bathroom. So she said she was going to go out to the privy, which is the outhouse, basically. So she's got this excuse ready just in case she does run into Madame Lockton. She knows that leaving the house is not a good idea because if she gets caught, she'll probably be put in jail. She could be flogged. And if Madame Lockton catches her, I mean, that could even be worse, right? Because we know that Madame Lockton's not the nicest person. So she kind of tries to get to Curzon's house, but she's not exactly sure how to get there. Remember, it's dark and she has to hide because she can't be seen. So she's going through different alleys and she's hiding and she's trying to avoid people. And it takes her a long time to get there because she's not exactly sure how to get to his house. But anyway, finally she figures this out. She gets to the house and she knows where Curzon sleeps and she taps on the window. So she gets to talk to Curzon and she basically just spills it. She just tells everything that she heard in the library when Mr. Lockton was meeting with his buddies and about the chest and what was in the chest and all of that. So Curzon's really interested in all these details because, of course, he's going to pass this along to his master, Mr. Bellingham. So after she does this, of course, she's like, okay, great. I spied. I told you the information. Is this going to be enough for my freedom? She wants to know, can I be on the next ship tomorrow? Can they get me out of here? Can they give me my freedom? But Curzon obviously says to her, listen, you got to wait here. We got to talk to Mr. Bellingham. He's going to have to, see what's going on. There's going to have to be some investigations. So, you're not on the next ship, sweetie. Sorry. So then he sends her home. But although she says to him, I had a hard time finding it, but he gives her some really quick, easy directions to get back to the Lockton's house. So that's good. So she's on her way. So that's pretty much the chapter in a nutshell. Here's some quotes in case you need to have some quotes for, like I said, a book report or anything like that. This is the one where she's making that decision about opening the gate. If I opened the gate, I would be a criminal. Slaves were not allowed out after sunset without a pass from a master. Anyone who caught me would take me to jail. If I opened the gate, a judge could order me flogged. If I opened the gate, there was no telling what punishment Madame would demand. So this quote in itself shows the amount of pressure Isabel is under here. She wants to spy. She wants to bring the information to Curzon because this could get her freedom. But if she gets caught, this could also mean death for her or a severe punishment. So there's that struggle, that inner struggle that she's facing at this gate. So that's a kind of a monumental moment here in this chapter that, you have to pay attention to. Then after she's told all the information, she says, will this be enough to send us home? I ask, can this get us on a ship tomorrow? I can have Ruth at the docks by sunup. Again, this is showing her desperation for freedom. So these are both on page 64 and 65 in my book. If you have this different book than I do, they'll be close. So just kind of around those pages, you should be able to find them. Okay, so now let's look at chapter 11, the summary for chapter 11. Okay, let's have a look at that. Okay, so in this chapter, Isabel ends up sleeping in because, of course, she's been out all night, giving the information to Curzon. So she gets woken up by an angry Becky because everything is behind schedule. We know that normally Isabel wakes up before even Becky arrives, gets the water, sets the fire, gets everything ready for Becky to come in. But of course, now Isabel slept in, so Becky is not happy. So she's waking her up. Come on, make haste, she's saying to her. And then not 2 minutes later, she's confronted by Madam, who's in quite a bad mood actually this morning. So she's basically ordering her to do all kinds of different things. We want the, cleaning done, the dusting, the bed sheets, everything. So, this morning is not going well for Isabel. So, this was not a good way to start her day. So the whole day has been like this. Madam is in a mood. So Becky and Isabel are on double duty. So it's a busy day for them. And Isabel, of course, at the same time has in her mind that at any moment, somebody is going to come and arrest Mr. Lockton, right? So because she's of the information she told us, but it doesn't happen. Then finally, the moment Isabel's been waiting for. Mr. Bellingham arrives with a team of soldiers and she's like, yes, they're here. They're going to search the house. They're going to find what I told them and then I'm going to get my freedom. But instead they go to the windows and they start removing the lead from all the frames and they're taking everything out because then Bellingham is explaining that they need the lead to fight the war. They need it for the bullets and things like that. And then, so at the same time, Isabel's kind of like confused, but then she realizes that this is just, a ruse, basically. You see, it's a trick. It's like they're trying to use this as an excuse to be able to look for the chest because they know they have to find the chest, but they can't just come in and say, we want to see the chest. So this was a great, clever way to search for the chest. So she realizes that. And then at one point, a soldier does cry out and say, hey, I found it. So again, so they're coming up the stairs, but then again, Madam knows this, and she actually at this point doesn't know that the money has been removed or part of the money has been removed. So of course she promptly sits herself on this chest and says, like, nobody's getting in this chest, just like she did at the dock. Remember when she was defending her chest? So she's sitting on the chest, and Mr. Lockton is there, and Mr. Bellingham is saying, come on, you got to move. And then Mr. Lockton tells her, no, it's okay. Just let him search the chest. There's no problem. And of course he knows that it's going to be okay because he knows the money is hidden in the false bottom of the chest. And he knows that they're not going to find anything in it. So Isabel knows this, of course. She knows there's a false bottom and she knows there's still money in there, but she can't say anything, of course, because if she does, well, then the Locktons are going to know that she's the spy. So they don't find the money, and they're Mr. Bellingham is quite upset about this, but he decides to arrest Mr. Lockton anyway, just on suspicion, and sends Isabel this kind of dirty look that says, you gave us some false information here. There's nothing in this chest. You're kind of in trouble. Anyway, so Isabel's kind of confused, but she's like, I know there's money in there, but I can't say anything. So this is a little bit of what's going on. The stress of this whole thing is just way too much for Madame Lockton. And at the end of the chapter, after giving a few orders, of course, she faints. So that is the end of that chapter. So now Mr. Lockton is off to jail, maybe to be interrogated, and Mrs. Lockton is on the floor fainted. Here's some good quotes for this chapter. Haste was the word of the day. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't catch up. It did not help that Madam was in a bad mood, or in a mood. It doesn't say bad mood, but we have to infer here that it was a bad mood because of all the orders that she was giving everybody. That's on page 68. Bellingham removed the papers under his arm. You surprised me, Elihu, he said. I thought a patriot such as yourself would welcome the chance to contribute to the army. Page 71. A little bit of sarcasm here. Bellingham fully knows that he is not a patriot. He knows that he is a loyalist and he is part of the British side. So he knows this. So he's being a little bit sarcastic and saying, hey, well, why would you be worried? Why are you surprised that we're coming and taking the lead out of your windows? I mean, a patriot such as yourself, right? So again, a little bit of tongue in cheek there, but a little bit of that sarcasm. Madam, Bellingham said sternly, if you do not take your person from that chest, I shall order these soldiers to remove you. This is Madam protecting her chest. That's also on page 71. So I didn't put the page number in there, but it is page 71. And two more. I wanted to shout, the money is underneath the false bottom, but pressed my lips together. Bellingham knelt and checked for himself, knocking the wooden sides. But of course, he didn't know about this false bottom, and Isabel did. And we know that, of course, she can't say anything on page 73. You are summoned to the New York Provincial Congress for suspicion of aiding the enemy, Elihu. I'm placing you under arrest. These soldiers will escort you out. Also on page 73, it is a moment where Elihu is arrested. So that's an important part of this chapter. That's the end of chapter 11. And hopefully you found those two in a nutshell summaries helpful. If you like my channel, please subscribe. I love seeing the numbers go up, and so do my students. I appreciate any of your comments or feedback, or if you have any questions, like I said, please leave them in the comments. I always answer, and I'm so happy to help any of you if you need help with your book reports or book clubs or anything like that. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.